I call residual colonial attachment. I think that's the only way I can describe it, and you know what I'm talking about. I call it residual colonial attachment. And I will tell you what I try to do about that, and where we may be going. If there is any time that calls for working together, investing in Francophone, Anglophone, Lusophone, Arabophone, investing across Africa, this is the time. And we have examples that we can quote, particularly in the area of banking. After our own banking reform in Nigeria, the Nigerian banks were big enough, strong enough to venture outside. And any Nigerian bank that is not in an Anglophone or Lusophone Africa is not a strong enough bank today. Name them, you will find them either in Senegal, in Cote d'Ivoire, in Democratic Republic of Congo, in Cameroon. Name them. And if we can succeed as we have succeeded in banking, why can't we succeed in other areas? Why can't we? Aliko succeeded in cement. I took him by hand to Senegal. We had problems of land and all that, but he surmounted it. And then people say to us, what we shouldn't, is a way of putting us, or discouraging us. Oh, you produce the same thing. That's why you cannot invest in your countries in Africa. But the Germans and the French produce the same thing. And they invest in their countries. The British and the French produce the same thing. And they invest in their across their countries. Why not? And I ask the question, if Cote d'Ivoire produces cocoa, why can't that cocoa be taken to South Africa to be turned into chocolate? Why should it have to go to Switzerland to be turned into chocolate and brought back to Africa? Yes, we produce the same thing. And the opportunities are there. The opportunities are there in that we are the same people. I went to Togo once, and the aid you see given to me, I was looking at him, he was looking at me. I don't speak French, he doesn't speak English. The second day after he's been with me, I realized that he's a Yoruba speaking. 24 hours after he's been looking at me, I've been looking at him. Then I said to him, you stupid man, why didn't you be speaking to me yesterday? thing. And I earlier said, what should we do about residual colonial hold up or hold out, whichever word you want to use. When I was president, I realized this. And President Chirac was, we became very close friends. And he did me even the honor that the French never, or normally, don't do other presidents. He came when I was paying a visit to France. He came to receive me at the airport. Normally, the French don't give that type of honor. So we got talking, and I said, Mr. President, I know your problem, and I want you to understand my own problem. Or, I know your interest, and I want you to understand my interest. Your interest is economic in Francophone Africa. I won't stand in the way of your economic interest. But you cannot separate Republic of Benin from Nigeria. You cannot separate Cameroon from Nigeria. We are the same people. We are neighbors. And by the time I finished, he said, you are right. And that was the game we played. You have your economic interest. I have my people's interest. And we became the best of friends. To the extent that when he died, I was invited to his funeral. So, whatever we may see as a problem, there are problems that can easily be solved and must be solved. One of the things that our leaders in Africa have done in recent times, one of the very good things, is the establishment of Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. It has been launched and it has started to work, but it doesn't work the way or to the extent that it should work. But it has started. There's still a lot of work to do. Rule of origin, commonality of designations of commodity, so that whether it's in Cameroon, Nigeria, or in Angola, it will be the same regulation, the same categorization, the same denomination. And they are working on that. And you can see once that is fully done, yes, you will not have to. It may be, we may still be using different languages, but it will be the same regulation, the same designation. That is very important. Another very important thing is what I have started doing with something like Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. Our leaders have given us an instrument. We need, at the private sector level, we need to move. So I started something, and we have done it in 2 countries. We are going to do a lot more. We started 2-country business council, private sector led, public sector supported. For instance, we have DRC, Nigeria Business Council. I am the president of DRC, are the patron. Reason being, we will be the ones to push or lead from behind. Normally you lead from the front, but in this case, we lead from behind. And when we started, it was Buhari who was the president of Nigeria. And we said, look, we cannot do this without letting him know. And Buhari loved it so much, he said, look, don't just do DRC Nigeria. You have to do DRC Nigeria, DRC Angola, Angola Nigeria, Egypt Nigeria, Mozambique Nigeria. Go all over Africa. And only 5 days ago, I was in Angola and we were with our family establishing Angola, Nigeria. The good thing about that is it is private sector led, but the support of the public sector, the government, is very crucial, very important. And when the president of DRC wanted to get Aliko Dangote, we got Aliko Dangote to DRC through DRC Nigeria Business Council. And Aliko Dangote met the president, and just sitting down with the 2 of them, Aliko told the president the area of interest for investment. The president said, yes, there it is. And deal was written, sealed, signed, sealed, and delivered. Over $1 billion investment. So that's another way of moving investment through into Francophone, into Lusophone. And it should not be one way. Now, why can't we have investment in it? when we were in Angola, the people said, look, they have things they want to trade in Nigeria, why not? And what do they want to trade? How do they now get the information, regulations, and all that? And we say through the Business Council, an office in Nigeria and an office in the other country. And you go to that office to get all the information about investment, about trading, about economic situation and economic relationship, what that country is importing, what they are exporting, what the area they are interested in investing. 5 days ago, when we were with the president of Angola, the first thing he said, look, we want to investment in a refinery. That is first priority. Second priority, energy. Energy, hydro, fossil fuel, energy. Second priority, evacuation of energy to where it is needed. Transmission. Fourth priority, pharmaceutical. And they said to us, everything, every drug that is used in Angola, even Panadol, is imported. Even drink is imported. They want malaria tablet. So, the opportunities, as I said, are there. Then how do you take advantage of the opportunities? If the opportunities are there, if they are, how do you take advantage of the opportunities? And that is the sort of thing that we are doing. Joanna, that you are doing here, bringing together people who ordinarily would find it not too easy to come together. And that is what we are doing, as I said to you, with the two-country business council that we are establishing. So, what am I saying in summary? Whatever anybody may say to you is obstacle that will not make us to invest in our countries, particularly from Nigeria in Francophone countries, is absolute nonsense. Don't listen to them. They are trying to put us off. They are trying to discourage us. And those that where we have been able to do that, the return on investment has been very good. Very good. When I came in, I was telling Joanna that, well, I am investing in the area that I think is very important. Food and agri-business. I'm doing that not only in Nigeria, I'm doing in Anglophone and Francophone countries, including Cameroon, including DRC, including Angola, including Guinea-Conakry. In all these countries, people will have to eat, no matter how bad the economic situation may be. And no matter how bad the economic situation may be, one thing that will always sell is food product. I came in and you are all eating. You may not do any other thing. As I always say, the good thing about food is that the one you eat cannot be the one I will eat. We can eat the same type of food, but what you have eaten, you have eaten. What I have eaten is different from what you have eaten. The one I ate yesterday is gone. I must eat another one today. Whereas the dress that I wear yesterday, I can wear today, but not the food. I can eat the same type of food, but not the food that I ate yesterday. I can wear my father's dress, but I cannot eat my father's food. My father must eat his own food. I must eat my own. So if you are thinking of anywhere to invest, area of agribusiness is the one that you cannot go wrong. And that is also an area where you can go francophone, lusophone, you can invest. And if the government of the country in which you have invested has the right policy, they will encourage investment in agri-business. And mind you, I did not limit it to agriculture. I say agri-business. Because today, agri-business means from equipment for land preparation up to food on the table. It's all part of agribusiness. And that's why if you are in agribusiness, you can go much wrong. And every African country is crying for investment in agribusiness. Opportunity. How are you going to take advantage? You need the information. You need to know what is there. When in Angola, the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Angola wanted to partner with us. And what did they choose? Poultry. Because they import almost every chicken that they eat. My mother was a complete illiterate, but he had chicken raised in her backyard. My mother didn't have to import chicken, not even from another village. Now, in Africa, we have African countries having to import chicken. Poultry. I'll talk about medication, pharmaceutical. Then packaging. When I started farming. I learned a good lesson. I was producing egg. I realized that my egg has to be packaged. I was producing frozen chicken. It has to be packaged. And I have to go out elsewhere for the packaging. And those who are doing packaging, they just sit down, cool, wait for me. Because whatever I produce, I have to package. So I said, okay, if that is the case, let me also go into this package. So now, I'm also in packaging. Because as I said, whatever you produce, and packaging is also part of the marketing. Packaging, pharmaceutical, agric, business. And when you go to any country, find what is it that they need. You will find the high end, like in Angola. Hydro will produce energy. That is $billions. There will be people who want to invest in that. Evacuation of energy, transmission line, 1,200 kilometers. There will be people, $billions. But then, when we talk of poultry, that's medium, or even can be on the small scale. You can have medium to produce day-old chicks, and have the out those who will produce small scale and collect the chicken for slaughter. That helps in wealth generation, poverty alleviation, and employment. And as I said to Joanna when I came in, we have to forgive me because I have to rush again back to Abeokuta to see the European Union team that calling on me at 5:30. But before I go, are there questions that you really you feel that Obasanjo shouldn't leave here? But before I answer any question, let me conclude. What are you here for? I've seen a number of things actualizing Africa's prosperity. Africa is not poor. Africa is not poor. The resources, human and non-human, of of Africa is not shared by any other continent in the world. How then do we live in poverty? And that's part of the reason why you are here. How do we actualize the prosperity of Africa? It is by investing, Africans investing in Africa.
Yes.
And that's what we are here for. And that's what we are saying, that we can. Aliko is reputed as the richest man in Africa. And you know how Aliko started that? Anytime I talk about this with Aliko together, and I say Aliko is a greedy man, he will say, look, if you give me the same opportunity today, I will be greedier. And what happened? As president, one of the things that was worrying me was the amount of cement we were importing. So that I couldn't sleep. At 5 a.m., I phoned Aliko. I said, Aliko, just woke up. I said, I want to see you at 7 o'clock. He said, Mr. President, it's bad enough that you woke me up at 5 a.m. And to say you want to see me at 7 o'clock when you are in Abuja and I'm in Lagos, that's an impossibility. I said, okay, Aliko, when can you see me? He said, well, the first flight is 7. If I go by the first flight, now that you have woken me up, I will be with you at 9. I said, 9 is good enough. And Aliko came in at 9. And I look at him in the face. I said, Aliko, why are you importing cement to sell when the raw material for producing cement, limestone, is almost everywhere? So you want an honest answer? I said, yes, I do. Give me the honest answer. He said, because it's more profitable for me to import cement and sell than it is for me to produce cement. Well, which is an honest answer. It's business and want to make profit. I said, then what can I do to make you produce cement and sell rather than import cement and sell? He said, again, you want an honest answer? I said, Aliko, I always want an honest answer. Give me an honest answer. He said, make it as profitable for me to produce cement and sell as it is profitable for me to import cement and sell. Again, simple. But I still haven't got what he was saying. So, he has answered 2 questions. I'm still not out of the woods yet. So I said, how can I do that? I said, tie my importation of cement to my production of cement. I said, Aliko, you can go. You can go. Then, at that time, my Minister of Industry also came from the private sector, Yamodu. And I called him and said, hey, Minister, come. I've just finished a meeting with Aliko. Go and work it out. Aliko made, we started producing cement in 1956 up till 1963. 2003. We haven't produced 5 million tons of cement a year. From 1956. Aliko's first project is to produce 5 million tons of cement in Kogi. What do they call it?
Obajana.
Obajana. So that's why I said he was a greedy man. And of course, since he made plan to produce 5 million tons, we have to encourage him to import have 50% of what he has planned to produce. And that's how it was done. And of course, the success in Nigeria, it transferred to success elsewhere outside Nigeria. That's how it's done. So it can be done. And don't anybody deceive you. You are the best architect of your own fortune. You are the best architect of your own fortune. Some people will come and invest in Africa for you. That will not be investment. It will be exploitation. So, we are there. We are here to look at what are the opportunities, what are the insights, how can we here in Nigeria, with how many are we now? 230 million?
200 million.
Huh? And by 2050, we will be what? 250 million? No, 400 million. We will be 400 million. You imagine that 400 million to be fed. Huh? Leave me in my poultry. If you have 400 million, 400 million, and every Nigerian will be eating one egg not a day, one egg a week, that will be 400 million eggs a week. Just think. You divide 400 million by 52.
No, multiply.
How many eggs would
Multiply.
that be?
Multiply.
Huh?
Multiply.
Huh? Multiply. I got it wrong. You multiply 400
million
by 52, I mean.
Yeah.
How much would that
I
be?
mean,
20 billion eggs. 20 billion.
20 billion. How many eggs a day do we have to divide that by 365? Okay, tell me.
we will divide. The get number of eggs you need to increase.
56 million eggs a day.
Need to be produced.
56 million eggs a day.
Needs to be produced.
I don't know what you would say your profit on one egg would be. And that is opportunity. That is opportunity. Well, Joanna. I think somebody is putting up his hand there. Yeah, let's get him. I will not answer more than 3 questions. That's one there. Yeah, there's another one there. And then there's a lady.
Is it over here, sir? Okay.
Now, first of all, tell me your name, what you do, And what you, if you have no work, you are unemployed. Let me know that you are unemployed.
So can I add into your portrait?
Mr. President, good evening, sir.
Go ahead.
My name is Wadi Ahimie. Currently,
No, what do you do?
that's what I want to tell you. I work with Nairametrics. It's an online digital media firm. We're also partners with Francophone Africa for this business, for this summit. We're the media partners. Because we work with data, and I've heard you as you continued in your various statements talk about numbers. One area I see, and you started the NIN program in Nigeria, which 24 years after, we still don't know whether we have up to 100 million people that we can count. And when you consider that fact, and you consider the number of people that you're going to have in Africa, especially young people, which will be about 50% of the population by 2050, about 2 billion of them, how do we harness the data that we currently have so that in terms of the eggs that you use as examples, producing 400 million eggs in 1 week, how do we harness that to ensure that at the end of the day, not just the high end, but the middle end and the low end know what is going on both in the retail market and the upscale market. And then at the end of the day, businessmen can tap into this data to create the kind of products and services that would serve across board at the end of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. One very good instrument is this. One very good instrument is this. And it has not been used to the extent that it can be used. Look, when I went to Itoku Market, Itoku Market is a popular market in Nigeria, in Abeokuta. And the telephone of a woman, an illiterate market woman, was ringing. The other man was saying, "Hey, Mama Shola, Omo Obasanjo nke o, Yalomo." He said, "Mama Shola, Obasanjo's child is crying because I introduced this." And he believed that he wants to say, "Answer your telephone call." He said, "Omo Obasanjo nke o, Yalomo. Obasanjo's child is crying. Answer." So it has not been used. And whether it's my village or at the presidential office, this is an instrument and it can be used. That would information, data, can be passed. And I believe we need to make use of it more than we are doing. Payment and all that can be done. Yes.
Yes, next question, sir.
Thank you very much again for being here, sir. My name is Fatia Inde. I am the founder of Flags PR, and we basically tend to be we basically provide data-driven communication needs for SMEs towards, accelerating the after. So my question basically is, based on your presentation, you mentioned that you have your own farm, and I'm thinking that most Nigerians or Africans cannot afford to have their own farms, and not everybody can be entrepreneurs. I personally, I don't think we can scale as Nigerians or as Africans if everybody were to be, say, entrepreneurs. So what do you think we as a country or as a continent, we can actually just focus on and then scale that in a way that we can...
not everybody will be an entrepreneur. Of course, not everybody.
There's been...
Now please, my dear sister, some will be teachers, some will be preachers.
My question really is, what is one thing? Okay, so we have countries like, say, Singapore or, say, China. We know China for manufacturing in large scale. What can we really focus on as a country in large scale and then probably use that to then...
Food production. Now let us be self-sufficient. Let us take care of food and nutrition security. And that is why, my dear sister, I talk of agribusiness. I did not talk of just agriculture. And I said that agribusiness, if you have listened to me, includes from preparation, equipment you use for land preparation, for preparing the land, up to the spoon and thing and the table cloth that you put on your table. They are all the value chain of agribusiness. And if you want us to say, where can we get the majority of our people employed? It is in agribusiness. The value chain from blacksmith that we make cutlass and hook. We don't use cutlass and hooks now anymore, except in the very rural areas. But that we make all the things that you need for land preparation, up to the spoon and the cutlery on your table. That's, of course, there will be innovation, technology, there will be AI, there will be data collection and all that. But the area where the majority of our people, from lowest to the highest, will be employed or have employment, will be in the area of food security, food and nutrition security. Last question.
Thank you. My name is Serge Timele. I come from Côte d'Ivoire. I'm running an investment bank covering the region. You remind us about what you did in Nigeria 20 years back, how you reshaped the financial sector so that it has been in a capacity to drive the other economic sectors by changing the number of banks, putting new regulation, etc. You did it. So, and you said the African Free Trade Agreement is the new room that will change the game in Africa for development, and I trust you. My question for you is that one. Without doing the same for the financial sector, without changing the financial sector, the financial in and outflows across the continent, how this may happen, that goods and services will travel from one continent.
What do you mean by changing the rule?
Yes.
What do you mean by changing the rule for the private sector?
Exactly. Let's take what the President Tinubu did in Nigeria recently. He bring the value to the Naira to his market value. So now, of course, it's painful, but Nigeria has taken a decision.
I won't comment on what. Please, I won't comment on what is going on in Nigeria, but I will tell you this. Please, look, that is the type of thing you have been brainwashed, and most of us have. I was in Angola, I just said to you. In 1975, Nigeria gave Angola $20 million. It was 12 million naira. 1975. What has happened to Nigeria from 1975 when 1 naira was $1.80? That 1 naira today, that $1 today is 1,500 naira. What has happened? Tell me. Why should I want to buy things in Cote d'Ivoire and be looking for dollar. I shouldn't be looking for CFA. Why? Okay. So the African Bank has now brought in something they sell payment system. Okay. Payment system. Which we should. I shouldn't have to want to buy something in Ghana. I should either look for city or they take my naira. For as long and as you believe that devaluing the Nigerian naira or devaluing the Nigerian city is the way to go, I believe I will say I pity you. On that note,